Pixel art. I love pixel art. I love looking at pixel art, and I love making pixel art. It's great, but do you know what would be even greater? 3D pixel art. We have seen the effect in games like A Short Hike, which by the way is the game that got me into development in the first place. But how exactly is it done in Godot, and how can we take some of the core concepts of what makes pixel art and apply them as well? Okay, so first up is the most obvious, pixelation. Luckily, Godot has a really easy to use built-in option for this. First up, head to Project Settings, and then under the display, and then Window Settings, you'll notice two sets of boxes. One for the width and height that the engine will render, and the other one called Test Width and Height, which will be the size of our window. We want to change the test resolution to our default window resolution, which is 1024 by 600, and then set our width and height as our pixel art resolution. In my case, that's 512 by 288, but it's up to you. 256 by 144 is another great option for chunkier pixels. We also need to head down to the stretch options and set the mode to viewport and aspects to keep to prevent our pixels being stretched when the window is moved around. Awesome, so now when we run our scene, we get some nice chunky pixels. Thank you very much for watching. Please like and what? You're saying that pixel art is more than just down-resing a 3D render? Are you gatekeeping art? Honestly, disgraceful, but no problem. To many, pixel art is more than just a chunky pixels on the screen. Color is just as important. The vast majority of pixel art is done using a limited color palette, so we too will need to achieve that as well. To start off, I will change all my materials to use Godot's built-in toon shader. This will mean objects will mostly only have two sets of colors, the lit colors and the shaded colors, which will help when we are limiting the colors drawn to the screen. To do this, just go to the properties of each material and under diffuse and specular mode, swap them for toon, then set the roughness to 0 and metallic to 0.5. I have no idea how these shaders work, but my friend Nikoto has a great tutorial on the toon shader in the style of Breath of the Wild, which I highly recommend you check out. As well as this, just to let you know, I'm using an orthogonal camera projection. This just means that things further away from the camera will not appear smaller. It's quite a common way for pixel art to be drawn. Also, I just think it looks nice with this top-down projection. Okay, so now that's done, we can work on our palette limiting shader. To be clear, I didn't make this either. It's taken straight from the Buff Ed's video, linked in the description. But essentially we have a list of colours with each number in the vector form representing the red, green and blue values, but on a scale of 0 to 1 instead of 0 to 256. And then the last value is just the alpha, which I've just got set to 1 on all my colours. In the fragment function, for each pixel, we store the current colour of the pixel, then loop through all of the colours in our list to find the colour with the minimum difference. We then set the pixel to that colour. I highly recommend watching the video. It's super quick and they explain it better than I can. I'm using the Apollo palette, which I found on Lospec, so I had to divide the red, green and blue values by 256 and then add them to the list manually, which honestly took so damn long, but I'd rather spend 1 hour doing something than 6 failing to automate it. So now we can just add this shader to a sprite 2D that covers the whole viewport. It doesn't matter what the sprite actually is, and just make sure it's the top node of our tree. Overall, this is a really nice effect. It's important to note that changing anything about the environment lights can change the look of the game significantly. I recommend having a single directional light for shadows and setting the ambient light in the environment to have zero sky contribution and a plain white colour. I really like how you can only see the grass around the edges of things. It looks very pixel arty, but I think adding some shadows of some clouds where you can properly see the grass would be nice. Once again, after trying to do this bit myself, I ended up just finding a shader online, which I found on the Godot Reddit by user Might of Merchants, and they luckily pasted the code in the comments. Essentially, it just takes a noise texture, which it turns into two noise textures, with the second one just being time shifted. It moves them both along at your set speed, and then just mixes them, with a threshold value deciding the cutoff value of the cloud. It then turns this into a texture which I can cast a shadow with. I set the geometry cast shadow mode to shadow only, since my game will be top down, so I don't need to render the clouds themselves. And that's it. Now we have a beautiful scene with some very nice 3D generated pixel art. It's not quite the hand-drawn quality that we see on the pixel art subreddit. I don't think there's a lot that can be done about jaggies in 3D, but some other improvements could include some toon-shaded edges, but really that's just up to personal preference, and I do think it looks really nice. The process has taught me a lot more about shaders, even though I still haven't actually made any myself yet. I guess that just shows how great the Godot community is that I haven't had to make any shaders yet. If you enjoyed this video at all, then please do subscribe. I've got more technical videos coming, but just wanted to make something about what I've been working on the past week or so. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope you have a very good day.